Hello, I'm Nell Seal. I work on behalf of the Forest School Association, and over the last year one of the things that I've been working on is the revision of the FSA recognised Forest School Provider Scheme, and I'm here today to just tell you a little bit about the scheme. The FSA recognised Forest School Provider Scheme is for any forest school provider who wishes to demonstrate that they're facilitating forest school experiences in line with all 6 principles, including long term. And the nationally recognised scheme has been created as a development and benchmarking tool, and it sets the minimum professional standard for forest school provision. This scheme is for any nursery, preschool, school, other setting, freelancer, anyone that's facilitating forest school experiences for children. There needs to be at least one level 3 forest school practitioner, and you need to have been, in most cases, facilitating forest school experiences for at least 6 months following qualifying as a forest school practitioner. There are a variety of benefits associated with becoming an FSA recognised forest school provider. You get an entry onto our online map, so when anyone lands on the Forest School website there's a very clear button that says find a forest school provider, and it takes you through to a map, and there's a map pin on your particular setting, so it makes it easy for people trying to identify forest school practice. We'll also issue you with a badge that you can put on your website or other marketing materials, and a certificate to display in your setting if you have a bricks and mortar setting. Some of the feedback that we've been getting throughout the beta test is that one of the most valued benefits is that it's seen as a really good opportunity to reflect on practice and adjust and align so that you're the best that you can be. You also become part of a network of similarly minded forest school providers, where you can share challenges and also share practice and seek help. It's a validation of your forest school practice as well. It's external validation, which some people value, and also as part of the membership you get up to 4 individual members, so you can identify 4 people in your setting. They don't have to be level 3 practitioners. Anyone who's interested and passionate about forest school, they get their own log on to the FSA website, which unlocks a lot of online resources, and they also get voting rights, and you can unlock all of the normal FSA membership discounts that are available. And by being part of the scheme, you're part of the movement towards quality forest school for all. I can give you a quick summary of the benchmark criteria, but you'll probably want to have a little bit more detail. You can find that by going onto the Forest School Association website and downloading the application form for the scheme. The benchmarks are detailed there alongside each question. But in summary, I can just quickly go through a list. So one of the first things that we look at are the staff that are facilitating forest school experiences. So we're interested in seeing their level 3 qualification and also their first aid qualification, which we would expect to be current. We would expect there to be an outdoor element to that training, and also for there to be a paediatric first aid element too if you're working with children. We also have a look at the CPD logs for your level 3 practitioners. We would expect FSA recognised forest school providers to be on a path of continuing professional development, and we'd like to see evidence of what they've been up to over the last couple of years. We also look at your forest school sessions. So in summary, we ask to find out how many different forest school groups you work with, how often they get outside, for how long, over what period of the year, what size those groups are, for example, but also we go in a little bit more detail and we ask you to submit evidence of your planning, and that can take a variety of formats, but we're interested in certain things. We want to think about whether you've thought about the needs of the group and how you might support those needs and where the children might take their session, and some other criteria as well, which you can find detail of on the website. We also ask for 2 sets of observations relating to 2 individuals, and that's kind of the non-judgmental observations that you routinely would make in forest school, and they can just be photographs of handwritten things so that it's hopefully not too onerous for you. We also look at risk. We would expect FSA recognised forest school providers to take a risk-benefit approach, and we ask applicants to share 3 separate risk-benefit assessments, 2 of which need to relate to higher risk activities, for example fire, tree climbing, foraging, tool use. We would like to see a completed example of a daily check, and also just a quick summary of your approach to dynamic risk assessment. We also look at your handbook, so we ask you to submit a single document which is your written record of how you do forest school in your setting, and we ask you to signpost us to individual pages where we can find evidence for certain things like your behaviour policy, your confidentiality policy, where you cover health and safety, where you communicate the forest school ethos and principles, for example. So there's certain things that we're looking for in each handbook that is submitted. We're also interested in your site. So you can submit a document that might be a woodland management plan, or it might be an environmental impact assessment, but what we're looking for essentially in whatever evidence you submit is evidence that you have thought about the species that are present on your woodland site, that you have thought about the impact of your forest school activity on that woodland site, and that you have gone on to think about how you can keep that impact to a minimum. And then lastly, we look at communication. We're interested in how you support your stakeholders, and we look at 2 particular groups in detail. So those groups are parents and carers, and also the adults that support you in the forest school session. So how are you communicating the forest school ethos and principles to those people who may not have had forest school training formally? So in a nutshell, those are the benchmarks, but you can go to the website and find out more detail. So if you are interested in applying, you need to go to the FSA website and click on the Join Now tab. You will be able to have a look at a document called the Self-Assessment Checklist. It's just a 2-sider, quite easy to navigate through. It's just a summary of each of our benchmarks, and we advise that you start by having a look at that and thinking about whether your practice meets our benchmarks. There's another document called Preamble, which goes over a lot of the background information and technical information about the scheme, so we recommend you have a look at those 2 documents before deciding if it's definitely something that you would like to do. Once you've decided, you need to fill in an online form on that page and also make a payment to us, and that is my trigger for getting in contact with you to arrange an informal chat consultation. It can either be on Skype or on the phone, and it's an opportunity for you to ask any questions about the application form before you fill it in, and it's a chance for me to go over a few key things and potential stumbling blocks that might iron out the process for you. So maybe lasting half an hour, something like that, and then after we've done that, you can go off and complete your application form and gather all of your evidence together, and that needs to be submitted to us via Dropbox within 1 month of us having had the consultation together, and then I have a further month to look at your evidence and come back to you. There are 2 costs associated with this scheme. The first one is the initial one-off payment, which relates to going through the assessment process, but which also includes your first year of membership, and that is £55 if you are an individual member of the FSA currently. For everyone else it's £100. And then the other cost associated with the scheme is the ongoing membership fee that's made annually thereafter, and it's on a sliding scale. So if you are a sole trading freelancer, it's £55 per year. If you work as part of an organisation, it's £75 per year, and that includes between 1 and 3 level 3 practitioners. So if you're working in an organisation with 4 or less level 3 practitioners, it's going to be £75. We can support and work with larger organisations, and we charge an additional £20 for every Forest School level 3 practitioner, in addition to the 4 that are routinely included. I'm going to be on hand throughout the process. If applicants have any queries, they can just pick up the phone, drop me an email, we could Skype. If you want more targeted, detailed, specific support in relation to a development area, then we can link you with an experienced mentor. There is an additional charge for that service. So I hope that was a useful summary. If you'd like to find out more detail, you can go onto the FSA website and have a look at the application form. Thanks for listening. I'm going to go and have a look at the great tits in the apple tree, which have been distracting me throughout this interview.